Illini Basketball Podcast, episode 150. Damn it. Turn my phone volume down. All right. 150. I did put a little yellow/gold outline on the episode thumbnail. I hope people noticed that. Nailed it right on the money. And we're on a back-to-back. A lot of in an era where players in the NBA don't play on back-to-backs. Here we are on a
Here
back-to-back.
we are, yeah.
So nice try. No load management over here.
Off of victory, still getting over,
just
celebrating the Illini victory along with the pool victory champion here, so
move along.
Deal with me. What's up, MJ? Let's go. He says Embras was here earlier. He can't stick around. He said, give Harris the credit he deserves. I don't think Harris was that good in this game, but okay. Illinois beats Northwestern 66-62. After a brutal start to the game, 19 points in the first half. Illinois comes out in the second half, reminiscent of what you say it was 2021.
Yep.
And outscores Northwestern by 22 in the second half. So let's just get into the players of the game. Sincere Harris. That's who I went with. He was also Underwood's player of the game. So that's right. Me and Coach got this right. I don't know what you're doing, but
okay.
Sorry, just taking shots. 24 minutes. He was 3 of 4 from the field, 6 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 turnover. But his biggest thing was his defense against Boo Buie, coming down the stretch with 11 minutes left after Boo put up 32 points already. Sincere started to hold him down. And it was more Sincere, Coleman, kind of those two switching off. But Sincere was a big part of that. Held him to 3 points over the last 11:30 or something like that. He also had a great dunk on the breakaway. He had a nice little floater, and then Kelly Pfeiffer tried to take him out of the game by tripping him. And then he had the game-tying bucket to tie it at 59. So Underwood said of Sincere, his layup was huge. That was an instinctive play of rip driving and beating a guy for a layup. So and just getting this out there for Illini Twitter, Brad Underwood did not make an adjustment to finally put Sincere on. I went back and looked, and Boo Buie had 11 of his 22 in the first half with Sincere guarding him. So Sincere just decided, he said that at halftime, that TJ and Meyer and Coleman all challenged him to play better defense. And he did. He stepped up. Epps gave up a 3. And Sincere got inserted into the game and kind of stepped up and started, playing better defense against Buie. Underwood was asked about Sincere, and he said, quote, Sincere is always on. He is going to make a mistake. He's a freshman. He takes great pride in guarding the basketball. Tonight, he elevated his teams and his teammates, and he elevated us to a level that was pretty doggone high.
Jesus.
Doggone? Did you say doggone?
Man, what are we doing?
Crypto, what's going on? MJ says, I am secure enough to say I debated watching the second half. Glad I did. That's fair. 19 points is absolutely disgusting. So,
I think this was different than the other one in the sense that Illinois was still down a lot with like 11 minutes left. They were still down, 12 or 11? The other one was just Northwestern had 13 points in the second half in the other one.
Right. And Illinois got it within 4. And then, you tweeted out that Northwestern was going to go on a run, which they did, 12-0 run. So good job by you.
It's on me.
Yep. But yeah, Sincere, he plays with that passion, that energy. And, he was stomping down the court after stopping Boo. And I got to throw this out there because my buddy just kept telling me last night that I have to. And he goes, what's that guy doing? Is he okay? And I said, he's stomping down the court going, boo hooey, boo hooey. So write that down, make a shirt, boo hooey. Yep. Good job.
I mean, he
Underwood
still had
asked about
36 points.
Yeah, I know,
but okay.
but he only had 3 in the last 12 minutes. That's all that matters. I felt
He
like Boo tried to go
turned
one on
hero
one
ball.
more, and that had a lot to do with what happened.
Terrence Shannon, Matthew Myers special.
Yeah, yeah. Underwood was asked about Sincere's passion and his energy, and he said, "quote That's what it should be about. That's just sheer passion for competing and playing the game. That's one of the things I loved about recruiting him. He would try to take his mother's ball if they were playing one-on-one. That's just who he is." I love that. Brad had some great quotes. So, Sincere you tell his energy, everything else, it just kind of stepped up everybody's game. Illinois kind of went small ball because Dane was struggling, and Sincere had some buckets there too that you like to see. So, yeah. You all right?
Yeah, I'm trying to tweet something. Yeah, for sure. Good game for Sincere. It's kind of hard for me to sit here and be like, he had 6 points. He should be the player of the game. And when the guy who literally carried them in the offensive end and was
right
as efficient as he could be in his second best game of the year, I think you got to go Terrence Shannon Jr. TJ Shannon, I guess is what we're calling him, which I refuse to do. I'm just not doing that. But yeah, Terrence Shannon Jr., 26 points in 28 minutes. Not a good first half for him at all. I think it's safe to say that he was not himself in the first half, and his jersey was untucked the entire game, which was kind of weird. 8 for 10 from the field.
At least his number didn't get ripped off like Boo Booey's. That was
True.
Interesting.
True. I thought he might have 50 after that happened. It's one of those things where they're going to be like, oh, my God, he was wearing the jersey number 4 with no name on the back, and he had 50 points. Oh, my God. That didn't happen. 4 for 5 from 3. I believe he was 4 for 4 from 3 in the second half because he missed a 3 in the first half. That was an air ball, which I'd love to see an air ball counter. He's got to have 8 or 9.
Yeah.
6 for 9 from the free throw line, which isn't great, but what can you do? 26 points. 24 in the second half. His only score in the first half was a mid-range jumper off of a pump fake 3.
Fake, yeah.
1 rebound, 1 steal, 1 block, 3 turnovers. UCLA Terrence.
Yeah.
Also known as TJ Shannon, also known as Terrence Shannon Jr., also known as
he's got all the names.
Sniper
names
T.
Yeah.
And Brad Underwood did say UCLA Terrence, which I knew he would.
He did.
But yeah, I mean, this was much more. It wasn't a better performance than the UCLA game, but it was close. I mean, it was much. I think it was a much more of a team on my back than the UCLA game.
Yeah, he seemed very confident, especially sitting 2 games out. I know the first half not so much, but that first 3 that he made to start the second half, I think really boosted him. And then, Meyer makes a 3. Meyer gets fouled on a 3. Surprise, surprise, twice this game. And then Terrence makes another 3. So after starting 0 for 11, for the team to come back and keep shooting them, knocking some down, that really helps. Shannon was asked about his thought process at the end of the game. And he said, quote, "My thought process at the end of the game was about getting stops. I wasn't worried about the offensive side." Underwood, like you said, referred to him as UCLA Terrence, but he said that he usually doesn't start guys that have been out for a week or longer, so that's why he didn't start. Talked about how RJ came off a good game, so he wasn't worried about not starting TJ in this game. Of course, he did start the second half, so he must have felt a little bit better after that. But Brad said, "I thought that his defense on Chase was every bit as good as his offense. Chase Audige was held to 3 for 14 shooting, 1 for 3 from 3, and 7 points."
Chase Audige had a Boo Booey type game from what we're used to seeing from Boo Booey against Illinois. And I think Audige got the best of Shannon in the first matchup, and Shannon got him back here.
Yeah. Yeah. And he also forced 4 turnovers. TJ had that big steal late in the second half. That helped too. So Crypto says, "Was watching with my grandson last night, told him it was bedtime at halftime. He didn't put up a fight because we sucked so bad." Now he's watching the recorded second half, losing his shit. LOL. He's 5. Wesley said, just joined. I don't know if you guys noticed Epps on the bench last night.
Oh, we'll get there.
Or heard anything about it. I was there and noticed he wasn't up with the guys towards the end. He was down bad. Yeah, we're going to talk about Epps here in a little bit. We actually just started. So, Pogs, yeah, Sincere's defense. TJ doing everything in the second half. Again, his defense was really good in the second half also. So those guys were definitely good. Ty Rogers was the other guy that was on the podium. But those two guys were kind of the guys that carried Illinois with that smaller lineup too. Dane was not good, so Illinois kind of went with that.
2 starters playing less than 20 in this game.
Yeah, they went with Coleman, playing the 5, which opens up the court. I mean, Illinois couldn't do anything against that double team that Northwestern does. So it was definitely a great game plan in the second half by Underwood, who never makes an adjustment. So Matthew Meyer, 32 minutes, 2 of 9 from the field, 2 of 7 from 3, 8 for 10 from the free throw line, 14 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 blocks, 6 turnovers.
Saving up for Sunday, dude.
I mean, has he had even close to 6 turnovers this year?
I think a lot of those turnovers were a classic case of like nobody can do anything, so I'm going to try to do something. I mean, I don't know. He had 3 against Rutgers, and then I think he had 2 or less in every other game this year. So that was
and a lot of it was. I mean, it seems like Illinois just wasn't ready for the Northwestern double team. And Meyer was trying to post up, and I know Meyer has length, but he's just not the kind of guy that can post up against a team like Northwestern that attacks so hard once you put it on the floor. You saw that a lot from Dane, how Dane couldn't barely do anything. He got fouled on 2 threes this time. I think he made all 6 free throws
in that sequence.
Yeah. So, good for him. I don't the one he didn't even get touched. So I don't know.
Those are rough calls.
What that was, but and I thought probably the biggest play of the game involved Meyer. It was more Ty Rogers than Meyer, but TJ missed 2 free throws. Ty Rogers gets the offensive rebound, and they kick it around to Matthew Meyer with like 7.5 left, hits a 3 to get the game within 4, which could have been a huge swing the other way if Ty Rogers doesn't get that rebound. And then he had that tough charge called on him late in the game. Boo, he slipped in front of him. It was one of those 50-50 calls that Kelly Pfeiffer is going to call 90-10. So it is what it is. And then I thought a really big play from him was when Coleman took that 3 late in the game. I think it might have been under a minute, and Meyer kind of soared over everybody. Ball got knocked out of bounds by Northwestern, but that was a pretty big play for Matthew Meyer, who offensively, he wasn't anything special, but he's still doing getting 8 rebounds. The kick to Shannon for the 3 to start the second half was really nice. So Matthew Meyer continues to play well, even when he's not shooting as well. Coleman Hawkins, 31 minutes, 3 of 9, 0 for 5 from 3, 6 points, 4 rebounds, 3 steals, 1 block, 0 turnovers. So really like to see the 0 turnovers from Coleman. Has he had a game with 0 turnovers? Maybe 1 or 2.
Interesting.
Yeah. He at times he just seemed very nonchalant this game. He wasn't aggressive to the basket like he had been the last few games. But his defense down the stretch was huge. Like I said, he switched off on Boo twice, I think. The one he got the jump ball called, and then the last one was with 2 seconds left where, he ended up blocking Boo's shot. He was on Boo earlier in that, and he put 2 hands on him. I don't know why. Like, I would have taken a Boo step back rather than him driving past Coleman, but it is what it is. So, Yeah, there's just times there was a Boo Boo. He was shooting free throws and he missed the second one. And Coleman Dame put a body on Nicholson, I think his name is.
Sure.
And I just thought he ended up tipping it out and got the rebound. But if they don't get that, I think Illinois was down 3 at that point. If he doesn't get that rebound, Illinois could have been hurting from that. So
it's his third game with 0 turnovers.
Hey,
at Wisconsin and home opener or season opener against Eastern Illinois.
Nice. At least he didn't turn it over against Eastern.
Yep.
Jay, what's going on? Jay says, couldn't believe that comeback, especially after it got down to 4. Epps misses a wide open 3. Then Northwestern goes on a 10-0 run. I think it was a 12-0 run. Thought it was over after that. I think everybody thought that. I believe Illinois was a 7% chance to win after that 12-0 run. So Jay said he's getting sick of the drop coverage. Illinois sucks at guarding the screens, especially if there's switching going on too. Yeah, especially when a guy can just clear out with his ass every time too and not get a moving screen call. So that makes it tough. They did Underwood talked about it. They went under a lot of threes. There it is. They went under a lot of screens, which they don't usually do, which Northwestern got to shoot threes.
See, Northwestern 12-0 run right here. And that was with about under 15 minutes to go in the second half. And Illinois, after the 12-0 run, respond with a 14-2 run. And as you can see, Northwestern right about here with just over 10 minutes left was about 92% to win, probably is right about there. If this is 75 and this goes up 80, 85, 90, and they're just above that. So probably about 92 right here after the 12-0 run when it was 52-39. So, and then Illinois, the 14-2 run right about here when they're up 63-61. And it's like, okay, here we go. And then boom.
Yeah.
A lot going on.
I think Illinois ended on like a 20-5 run or something like that. So, made the runs when they wanted to. Or when they needed to, not wanted to. That was silly.
Sure.
Sure. You just gonna sure me all day?
7.6
here today.
7.6% chance to win for Illinois when it was 52-36 with 11:11 left.
Sure.
College basketball, sure.
All right. Ty Rodgers, 30 minutes. He was 3 of 5, 6 points, 8 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 turnover. I already talked about the big rebound. I also thought a big play by him was when Sincere fouled Bowie on that off ball, and he started stomping, yelling, screaming, and Ty just kind of grabbed the back of his jersey and was like, shut the hell up, dude. You can't get teed up right now.
And the great analysts recognized that because Hummel recognized it right away. I don't think that the other morons that they throw out there on Big Ten Network would have recognized that right away.
Yeah, and I don't know if Coleman doesn't get teed up and all that stuff happens at Indiana. There's no doubt in my mind Sincere should have been teed up for that. That was a little extreme. At least he was kind of going away from everybody while he was doing it. He wasn't kind of going at a ref, but I also thought another big play by Ty. Nicholson had a wide open layup. Ty kind of bumps him in the back, but still blocks the shot I think it was under a minute. To send when Illinois was up 2 to send Nicholson to the line, who I think is like a 48% free throw shooter.
Yeah.
I thought that was huge that he had the mindset to foul him and make sure he didn't make it. So that's just the things Ty does.
Can I also address this? I think Rothstein tweets out Sincere Harris, glue guy. I think Ty Rodgers is more of a glue guy than Sincere Harris is. You know why?
Why?
Because I think when it comes to being a glue guy, the Mark Vitals of the world when he was at Baylor, I think rebounding is a huge part of that. And Ty Rodgers is probably the best rebounder on this team.
Oh,
so
100%.
I look at him and I think he's more of a glue guy.
Especially for his size. He's 6'6", right? So for his size to be able to rebound like he does is Really impressive. The way he jumped over the guy boxing him out to get that rebound when TJ missed the 2 free throws it's just what he does, though. I mean, it's not like
here are the steps for a glue guy, I think. Rebounding, Ty Rodgers does that better than Sincere. I think if I need somebody to go to the rim and score, I think right now, and the way he's been doing it, Ty Rodgers can do that more than Sincere, especially because Ty Rodgers can be physical, kind of bang around there a little bit.
Yeah.
And this is not a knock on Sincere. I just think that Ty Rodgers is more of a glue guy. If we're going to talk about the best glue guy or the biggest one on this team, it's probably Ty Rodgers.
Yeah, and for as wild as he looks at times, he has really good body control. The one that he went to the lane and he kind of was able to set himself and get that off the glass. I don't know if Sincere could do that right now.
No.
but Ty made it happen. He also got put at the one spot quite a bit in this game, which I questioned at the beginning of the year, preseason, him being the point guard, but he's doing a really good job at it. Even when Epps was in, he was still being the point guard. So Terrence Shannon said something in the post game, and he said, quote, "He's always been the one, by the way. He's just playing his role on the team and doing a great job at it. When they asked him to get on the ball, it just got him back to his old self." Him old self. I don't know if he really said him or if I just wrote it down like that. He said that's just what Ty does. He's an all-around type of guy. So, I think getting the ball in his hand, getting him more comfortable has really helped this game. And again, like I said last game, he didn't take a shot last game. And for him to be able to come
Give
back.
Ty Rodgers the seat.
This.
Put the captain on the jersey right now.
The captain on the jersey. Does Underwood have captains?
Probably not. Rutgers does, though, right? I think McConnell or Mulcahy have one.
I think Mulcahy's been the captain for 7 years.
Toss one on there for Ty Rodgers. What can you do?
Yeah. RJ, he did get the start this game. I don't think he'll be starting next game, but
that's a big question.
This game. 18 minutes, 2 of 4, 1 of 2 from 3, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 turnover. He did hit a big 3 when after Northwestern went on that run, that 12-0 run to get Illinois within 13. But it was a set play for RJ. RJ stepped up, made it. He needed to make that. Other than that, he got 6 rebounds. Not a whole lot else. Thing is, I guess it looks like everybody else's defense was really good because Boo Buie scored 97 points. So I don't even know if he played good defense because I don't know if anybody else got the ball, especially down the stretch. So
that's true.
But I'm okay with, RJ didn't do anything egregious, I guess is always a good thing, right? Dane Danger, 15 minutes, 1 of 2, 1 from the field, 1 of 2 from the line, 3 points, 5 rebounds, 1 block, 3 turnovers. Dane against the Northwestern double is ugly.
Yep.
And now people are going to know that. I mean, Dane puts the ball on the ground, he's going to get doubled. Northwestern's a hard team to pass out of their double too because they're so aggressively on you with their hands up. It's hard to even see over them. And Dane couldn't do it. Meyer couldn't do it. The second half, it was more of an open court. You start knocking down threes always helps too. And guys getting to the basket from outside, not getting it down low first. Underwood said of Dane, he said, quote, "Dane wasn't very good. Dane had a tough night. Those 3 turnovers felt like they were avoidable. Not very sharp, spinning baseline and dribbling it. Both things we told him he couldn't do against this team." So Dane's he's still on that learning curve. Underwood later said that those are just bad habits that he has, and they're trying to get it, drilled in his mind. He can't do that all the time. So, the good thing is you really didn't need Dane in this game just because, Northwestern doesn't use a big offensively except for setting screens. And I'd rather have Coleman switching off on that than Dane Danger when Boo Booey's getting ran off screens. So Jaden Epps, 14 minutes, 0 for 5, 0 for 3 from 3, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 1 steal, 0 turnovers. I was playing pool during the first half. Didn't really see the body language thing. Everybody on Twitter was talking about it. We got guys in here talking about it. He didn't get off the bench. He wasn't cheering on his team. I heard that RJ had to go get him to come high five his teammates after the game. So I don't know. I don't know if he was down because he wasn't making shots. I don't know if he was down because they took him out for sincere. It's weird, but he had a chance to get Illinois within 1 on that 3. He misses it. And Underwood talked about going under the screen on that shot that Bowie had, that he fumbled it, somehow makes it. There was literally no room between Bowie and the guy on his team. So I don't know how he was supposed to go over that unless he just ran into him and fouled him. So kind of, don't believe in that in Brad's perspective of that. But I understand, that's what he was trying to force into everybody, stop going under screens. So, but you put in, he misses that. Northwestern goes on that 12-0 run. Illinois is all of a sudden down 16. And I think if that 3 goes in, Jaden Epps probably stays in the game, Wesley says supposedly he checked himself out of the game. Okay. I did hear that he told Underwood that he didn't want to go back in too, and Underwood told him to. So I don't know. You got any more information, or are you just checking Twitter?
I'm trying to look up some stuff here about Jaden Epps.
Okay.
It was very noticeable though. I mean, you watch the game back and you see in the second half when Illinois is making shots, and you just see everybody on the bench standing, but then you see Epps kind of just standing there going like this.
Yeah.
Just sitting there. So that was kind of, very noticeable. I think if Epps were to not start the next game, I think that's when you know that there's actually something wrong, but I'm pretty sure he'll start. So
yeah, and Underwood talked about it, how good he was in the Minnesota game, and how Sincere was just better this game, especially defensively. So I hate if that's his attitude when he's not playing, especially down the stretch. Thing is, he's never been in that position, right? Sky Clark was in that position. What happened to him? He left. So
yeah,
I don't know. I hope that everything's all right, and he's, we don't lose our third player this year, mid-season, into season. I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, it'd be. Perrin doesn't count. Come on.
I know, but it's funny to say. Brad Underwood can't keep players.
Yep.
So
well, I do hope that Epps doesn't leave. I mean, I don't know. He's not going to leave. People being like, "Oh, he's going to transfer." Oh my God, it's one game, and maybe we could spin zone this a little bit and be like, "Hey, he wanted the team to win, and he wasn't playing well, so he's like." Coach, it would be bad for the team if I came in. We haven't have we ruled that out? Have we ruled that idea out where he's like, hey, I am 0 for 5 from the field or whatever. I'm not playing well, coach. Leave Sincere in. Have we ruled that out? That's a spin zone there.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping it was. Wes says every timeout, either Anderson or Fletch was talking to him and patting him on the back too. I did hear that the coaches had to console him. I don't know why we still have our players of the game on the screen. Do your job.
Do your job. How about that? Throw it back in your face. I mean, I don't know. I just love the overreaction. I think is my takeaway. Is like one of the first tweets I saw when I looked up Jaden Epps was like Jaden Epps to transfer next season after this.
Yeah, I mean. I don't know. He had an off night after having a really good game. I assume he was down because he couldn't help his team, right? He wasn't able to help his team. maybe he's wore out a little bit too. I mean, 3 games playing, 30 plus minutes. I don't know. Because that's what I'm going to contribute Coleman's laziness to him being kind of tired. So,
Well, that is totally wrong, sir.
I'll do the same thing for Jaden Epps. Luke Goody, 7 minutes, 0 for 2. Both of them were threes, 1 rebound, 1 block, 1 turnover. Underwood said that they were going to need Luke Goody, and because this team doubles a lot, and Illinois couldn't pass it out of a double, so they really didn't need Luke Goody that much. But I don't know.
Got to give Luke Goody the benefit of the doubt still. I mean, Illinois has played how many games this year? 28. And Luke Goody has missed 23 of those games and has only been available for 24. My math is just brutal. Jesus.
And Underwood talked about how he would have liked to play Luke a little bit more, but Matt Meyer got going, so there really wasn't a spot to put him in at that time. So, Luke's going to be fine. 7 minutes is okay. Illinois this was like Illinois' season kind of encapsulated in one game. Like you saw how bad they can be and how good they can be all in one 40-minute game, because we've seen the bad, can stomped by Penn State, things like that.
Getting stomped by Northwestern in the first half.
Yeah. And it was nice to see them able to bounce back and pull this win out. So other notes and quotes, we got already talked about going 0 for 11 in the first half, went 7 of 13 in the second half. Northwestern was 9 of 21 from 3 for 43%, which they usually shoot about 30%. So, a little bit higher tick for Northwestern. I don't know what's with teams coming into the State Farm Center and always shooting lights out, but Illinois seems to have that happen. Another guy with a career high was Boo Buie. So
they had that graphic last night where it was
it 4 or 5, and then Battle had a season high, I guess, against Illinois. So
recent big games against Illinois: Battle 31, TJJ 26, Pickett 41, Perkins 32, Greasel 21, which I guess it's Nebraska, so you can count that. And then Boo Buie had 32, and they showed that graphic.
I mean, is this just this is Brad saying I don't care about TJJ's 32, right? I mean, he's been
really
saying
dumb.
That all year. So.
It's really dumb. It's not something like if they play, since they're probably not going to be a high enough seed to be playing a mid-major team in round 1, like they could play, let's say they'll play Arkansas, which is something I'll get to later, which is what Lunardi says. Like, oh, it's okay if we'll let Anthony Black have like a 30-point triple-double, but if like if Jordan Walsh and Nick Smith and those other guys we can't let them beat us.
Yeah. I mean, Boo Buie was beating Illinois by himself in the first half, though. 22-19.
Yeah, so. It was. Yeah.
I think that's Brad's thing, though. He's not going to double. He's going to let one guy get his own if you stop the other guys. I mean, Barnheiser was the only, he had 11, and then you go 3-2-2-7-2. So, I mean, you can't be mad about it.
It worked last night.
Yeah,
miraculously.
Yeah, and Barnheiser, he
two lucky shots.
Yes, that one line drive that went in, and then the bank shot.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's what Brad does. One guy can't beat us.
It's great.
So. Illinois had another 6-block game. I think they're averaging 5.8 now, which is like 5th in Division I basketball, which is pretty impressive. The block that Coleman had was the team's 162nd, which now ties a school record in a season with the 78-79 Illini. So this team's probably going to break that record unless they just, don't block a shot the rest of the way out. But that's what they do. And it was really evident when Buie was trying to play his hero ball, how many guys collapsed on him. And those long arm, Buie couldn't handle all those long arms in there on him. I mean, Bowie got his points when it was one-on-one or when people went under screens. I think Bowie was a 29% three-point shooter coming into this game. So I don't know if you're mad that he takes them. I think you're more mad that the guys were missing assignments and they were wide open. But it's just teams decide to go off against Illinois. Illinois did win the rebounding battle 40-31. They did give up 12 offensive rebounds, though. There was a point there where I didn't think Illinois could get a rebound. They had a couple, other side of the basket rebounds that hurt Illinois, but
29.7.
Excuse me?
29.7% three-point shooter going into the game.
Going
now
into the
31.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Went up after that. Yeah, kind of interesting to me that that Northwestern only had Barron play 16 minutes. That was kind of weird in terms of his previous games where he's been playing 20 plus. Barnheiser did beat Ty Rogers once or twice, beat Sincere once with a lucky bank shot. So shout out to him for that. But you look at it's kind of easy to forget when you watch Illinois as much as we watch literally every second of every game. But Illinois is relying a lot on freshmen and young players. Like Dane Danger's a sophomore, but he played 3 games before this season and limited game time at Baylor. And Rogers and Harris were relied on a lot last night. Those are 2 freshmen. RJ's only a sophomore, but he's played plenty, so he's young, and they rely on Epsilon. So if you look at Northwestern up and down, they really rely on seniors and guys that have been in the program for a while, like Audige and Bowie and Barron. And it is easy to forget when you just watch every Illinois game and every second of it, how much, in comparison to a lot of other teams or tournament teams, that Illinois relies on young players a lot more than other teams do. And if they're not young players, they're guys who have been in the program for 1 year or Coleman Hawkins. So there you go.
Yeah. Illinois, 15 of 21 from the line for 71.4%. They did take 9 more free throws than Northwestern in this game, rather than that 40-10 split last game. Underwood was asked about them not, letting Northwestern go to the line 40 times. And he said, quote, "I hope it's growth because we fouled them a lot up there. I thought they let us play, and we did a much better job of being in the right place at the right time and being very attentive." So he did say, when you have Brian as the lead ref, that the game's usually going to be called well. Never did say anything about Kelly, which
interesting. Yeah, Brian Dorsey's the 9th overall ref in the country. How about that?
Insane Mob says Ty Rogers reminds me of a young Nick Anderson.
Sure, why not? Illinois is 1-1 in Brian Dorsey games this year. He did the Missouri game, which doesn't really have anything to do with the refs. But you date back to last season, folks. Illinois was 1-2 in Brian Dorsey games. He did the Missouri game again last year. Illinois won that, but then they lost to Purdue in double OT. He did that game, and then they lost to Ohio State in Champaign. He did that game. One more year we'll go back here just really for fun, and he didn't do any games 2 years ago for Illinois, so never mind. Kelly Pfeiffer sucks. I mean, that's just kind of the takeaway.
Yeah. At least he didn't tee anybody up this game. So Jeremy says he sees a little EJ Liddell in Ty.
No.
I don't think he shoots as well as EJ Liddell. Thoughts?
I don't think he does anything as well except maybe rebound and defend. Maybe.
And Brahats, welcome.
It's kind of hard for me to sit here and be like, yeah, Ty Rogers.
Ethan, so just so you guys know, Ethan hates comparing players.
No, there needs to be actual good comparisons.
Hates it. He actually hates it.
Like Nick Anderson, I obviously didn't see him play. So
you're too young.
But EJ Liddell is like, relax a little bit here.
Underwood's post game, he opened up with quote, "Well, that was definitely a tale of two halves. Really unique first half. Not only did I think we lacked physical effort, I don't know if I can remember a time here where our mental breakdowns were that dramatic. Can't tell you the last time we went under a ball screen Their first 4 threes, we went under them all. Boo Buie is a first-team all-big guard. In my opinion, he just cooked us. Obviously, we make an adjustment at halftime. Boo hit one three on an inbounds play, again, where we went under, and then it became the Sincere Harris show on defensive end and the TJ Shannon show on the offensive end.
Certainly.
Yeah. Underwood said this tells you how the schedule's been for him. He said, quote, "We didn't hardly what is today?" They told him that it was Thursday, and he said Tuesday we didn't hardly do anything.
Nope.
We actually just went to the court to walk through, and we shot free throws. Guys, they do shoot free throws.
They followed it up in this game by dominating at the line, going 15 for 21. Not that bad, but
hey, it's good enough. Good enough. So Underwood was asked about the team and what it takes to get this team going. He said, quote, "It takes everybody. Tonight wasn't Dane's night. It wasn't Jaden's night. You have to lean on your veterans. To be inspired by 2 freshmen on the defensive end just raised everybody's level. We are becoming deeper. I hope to play Luke a little more tonight, and I probably would have if Matt would not have got going. It's the first time all year we have been healthy and had all parts. I'm excited about the growth of this team together, having everybody where we can be." So,
boy, don't have Sky Clark.
Everybody that's on the team. Is he still on the team?
Does he? Well, I think the big question there is if he still has a player profile on the Illini website.
That's true.
I think is kind of how you determine that, and he does. So nice try.
Okay, no, they're not fully healthy then. So
he hasn't played since January 4th, and he was,
I hope somebody asks Brad about that.
Yeah, I think they should.
So Underwood finished it up with quote, try to keep stacking them, stacking good days, and become a habit. Hopefully a second half like this can be a springboard, and hopefully the first half can be a learning lesson. There's always moments where you can continue to grow, and that's all we're trying to do is grow. We have to find a little more balance between the highs and the lows, but that's all we are trying to do. So, like I said, just a roller coaster game, just kind of the definition of how this season's been going. You saw how bad Illinois can be. You saw how good they can be. But they win, so who cares?
Certainly. We did 40 minutes on Minnesota yesterday. Nice try. 43 today. Suck on that.
I thought we'd do at least an hour and a half if we did 40 minutes on Minnesota, but I'm kind of disappointed.
Twitter Spaces, I let out a lot of my thoughts.
That's true. That was 52 extra minutes. So basically, we did do that. Is that why you're just shirring me all day? Because you're like, oh, we talked about this.
Well, it was an emotionally draining game for everybody. Kind of one where you walk away now and you're like, I don't know how the hell that happened. And also, I don't know how much I want to talk about it because it was so bad, but then it was so good. And then it was like, okay, you won the game. We need to move on and be better because that first half was that was historically bad for the program, how bad that first half was, especially like Northwestern beat the shit out of you in the first game pretty much, and then you come out against them like that in the second game. That's pretty bad. And especially when they're the little brother. I mean, they had 9 fans at the game that made a big deal of showing up.
It's one of those things where like you knew Northwestern couldn't keep shooting that good, and you hope that Illinois can't keep shooting that bad, but you don't know for sure. Zach's here. Zach, what's going on? He says more post-game Twitter Spaces down the stretch. I believe Zach came on your space last night.
Yep.
Thanks for the kind words, Zach, on that. I was listening. So we appreciate everybody that comes out and, listens to us, goes into those spaces. We appreciate talking to fans because that's what we are, fans. So, all right.
We're a little bit higher up than them.
No, we're fans.
I'm just kidding. Or am I? No, I'm kidding. Or am I? Once again.
That's true. You might not be a fan. That's why you only have one Illinois shirt.
I think I have jacket, pullover, Rothstein,
Rothstein.
Fighting Illini. I got like 5, and I got a couple hats, but also I do have other Big Ten school stuff that doesn't need to be discussed. Unless you want me to, it'll be a really bad look for me, but we'll move on.
What?
Just like I have a jacket and a shirt of another Big Ten school.
Oh, that's all right.
It's a bad one too, though. It's one that you hate. So
that's all right.
moving on. Michigan. All right, moving on.
I used to have a Michigan starter jacket.
It's a Michigan football shirt, and
old school ones.
It's because I hate Ohio State football. So once a year, Michigan football beat Ohio State. That's kind of how I view that. Because honestly, I like Oregon football. I guess I like Illinois football. I did kind of get mad when they lost games this year, but college football sucks. So there you go.
Underwood also said that Chris Collins deserves Coach of the Year. Thoughts?
In the Big Ten?
Yep.
Probably. I think Painter or him or Willard. I mean, Willard year one, as good as Maryland's been with new pieces.
Yeah. I can't remember what Purdue was predicted to start the season, but I feel like winning it after being predicted in the, I'd say, bottom half. They were probably 6, 7, 8.
Northwestern was predicted like actual bottom.
Really? Okay.
Third to worst, probably. I think it was probably Minnesota, Nebraska, Northwestern at the bottom. Because Northwestern, it depends on what you value more. Do you value Northwestern losing multiple starters more, or do you value Purdue losing a lottery pick, but then getting National Player of the Year, or I guess growth from the National Player of the Year, and then relying on freshman guards as much as they do? Because they got a lot of their like key bench pieces back. Like from last season, they lost Trevion Williams, which is fine because it allows you to play more. They lost Ivy, who's a lottery pick, big talent. And then they lost Eric Hunter, who wasn't really doing very much for them. And they lost Stefanovic, but who cares about that? And they replaced him with white guards who are better and faster, and not slow, completely off-brand Luka Doncic that Stefanovic is trying to be. That's because he's white and looks the same, by the way. That's my comparison there.
Great one.
So, yeah, I mean, what can you do really is kind of my thoughts about whatever we were talking about.
Coach of the Year, I thought. But.
Yeah, I think I would probably I'd honestly say the Willard, but I don't think it's going to happen. So there you go.
Yeah. All right.
Will Hunter Dickerson have a career game versus Illinois, Brad says?
No.
I think Hunter Dickinson might. Yeah.
Wow, we're so mean. It's probably autocorrect. Jeez. Embrod says, I think the crowd willed the victory for sure. Fires Shannon's engine. Yeah, they said the crowd was really good. They did. I don't know. Best crowd.
If Illinois is not leading or within like 5 points, it's just.
Yeah, when Illinois is losing, I feel like our crowd's not great, but.
I don't think it's that good anyway. It's like
but when they started making a run, people started getting excited. But
Illinois building in terms of how hard it is to play there is probably in the Big Ten, probably like 10th.
Yeah,
honestly.
People talk about must-win victories. I wouldn't have called Northwestern a must-win victory, but I think it definitely helps closing out the season when you get that win at home. So, sure.
Do you think Illinois men's basketball will come out on senior night against Michigan like the women's team did against Nebraska?
Probably.
Lose by 32?
Probably.
Michigan's going to win that game. I would almost guarantee it.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say Hunter Dickinson's going to be the guy. I think that it's going to be your boy Cody Buffkin.
Kobe. Probably. Jesus. Show some respect.
Cody Buffkin.
Kobe Buffkin, yeah. I'll see how long we can have a silence there.
Wesley says when Shannon hit that 3 to start the half, the crowd was pretty engaged from then to the end of the game, I think. There you go, Ethan. How about the Orange Crush? Were they engaged?
Terrible. Horrific. And I only put out one bad tweet about them. So, Joke's on everybody.
Yeah, you even took a picture. You
I saw
went so far in that you took a picture.
Count the arms crossed, probably like
what
30.
was the score when you took that?
Don't know.
Oh, okay.
I think it was maybe in the first
Illinois
half.
was up too.
I wish it would have been even better, but
yeah,
right.
It's crazy when Illinois took the lead. That was like the first time Northwestern had been trailing in like 100 and some minutes.
Yeah, they hadn't been
game
trailing
time.
since the first half against Indiana, I think, or second
Yeah.
half against Indiana, or whatever the hell that was.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, well, they've been on a heater, and I think maybe the most interesting game in the Big Ten the rest of the week is them going to Maryland. I think that'll be fascinating. I think that's Sunday.
They play them Sunday, yeah.
I don't think they
Sounds
would make
right.
them play Saturday, but maybe. I wrote it down. Yeah, it's Sunday. All right, Illinois is back in action Sunday, 11 a.m. CBS at Ohio State. Illinois is now 19-9, 10-7 in the Big Ten. Ohio State 11-17, 3-14 in the Big Ten. It's been a rough year for the Buckeyes. They've lost 14 of 15 after a 10-3 overall start and a 2-0 record in the Big Ten to start the year. You just look up and down their schedule. They beat Northwestern on January 1st, and they beat Rutgers on December 8th. And then after that, it has been downhill. It's been, like I said, they've lost 14 of 15 since beating Northwestern by 16 points. They dominated Northwestern on January 1st, and it's been bad since then, no doubt. They haven't been blown out a lot. They were killed by Iowa, killed by Purdue, killed by Michigan State. Indiana beat them up pretty good. Illinois would have beaten them by 12 without a garbage time 3. But other than that, they haven't really been beaten up that bad. Like their first game against Purdue, they only lost by 2. That was kind of the downhill spiral. Because you remember when Ohio State lost to Purdue on January 5th, Ohio State got screwed in that game. And they were 10-3 and 2-0 in the Big Ten. In that game, they lose by 2, and they've won 1 game since then. So, not good.
Wesley said that Northwestern had maybe 20 students way in the top chanting and yelling, and they were louder than the Crush the first half. He will admit that. Embrot said we were pretty loud, even down 18, and after the 14-point comeback, it's the loudest that he's ever heard. Ethan, when was the last time that you went to State Farm Center?
2000 Bruce Weber era, probably.
Gotcha.
When it wasn't the State Farm Center.
Yeah. Brad wants to know your Indiana versus Purdue pick.
Purdue is going to send a message.
Okay.
Saying, I don't know, I got one more in me, Vince Carter, which doesn't really apply here. Okay. This will be Ohio State's 5th CBS game of the season, which is just insane.
I mean, everybody thought they were supposed to be better than this.
I mean, it's just still 5, like 5 for like the number 1 team in the country, maybe like going into the year. Like if North Carolina had 5, which they don't have a deal with CBS. So
right.
North Carolina did have 1, but that was because they played in the CBS Sports Classic. And they, what'd they do? They beat Kentucky or lost to Kentucky or beat Ohio State or whatever happened there. Who knows? Who cares? And then you got Zed Key out for the season with a shoulder injury. I do find it kind of funny that people are calling for Chris Holtman's job. It's like he's recruited really well.
Yeah, he's got a great class coming in, doesn't he?
Lost E.J. Liddell, lost Malachi Branham, lost Dwayne Washington Jr. And I know that other coaches have been successful after losing guys, and they've still been able to keep things afloat. But they are relying more on freshmen, I think, than anybody in the Big Ten because they expect Sensabaugh to be their best player. Illinois has a lot of freshmen that they play, but they don't expect any of them to be their best player.
Yeah.
And maybe you say Sewing should be their best player, but I think Sensabaugh, and especially freshman point guard Bruce Thornton, freshman shooting guard Roddy Gale, it's just like there's a lot of freshmen there, and there's transfers. It's similar to the Illinois mix, I think.
They start 4 freshmen now?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
It's similar to the Illinois mix of players where there's transfers, freshmen, and a couple guys that have been there for a while. It's just, I think Illinois is more talented, obviously, but Ohio State is the more high-impact freshman with Sensabaugh. I don't think firing Holtman would be the right move. However, if you went to Butler and you're like, hey, we'll trade you Chris Holtmann for Thad Matta, I think maybe you do that if you're Ohio State. Get Greg Oden on the bench as well because he's coaching at Butler. So if you want to go back to that era of Ohio State basketball, that was great with Mark Titus sitting on the end of the bench, and then he had 9 career points. He was dominant there. Shout out to Mark Titus.
Weird name drop there.
People in the chat will know who it is. For some reason, you're not plugged in.
Imbrod says OSU has 2 lottery picks who have lost face in looking to fix that. Thornton and Sensabaugh were scout projected. I think Sensabaugh is still a lottery pick, right?
Yeah, probably not. I think there's too many guys that are like, there's other guys at other schools that you're like, who the hell's that? Like, for example, have you ever heard of Taylor Hendricks?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a lie.
He sat next to Titus back in 1996.
That's not when that was. Taylor Hendricks is a wing at Central Florida right now, and he's probably going to be a lottery pick, and I bet most of the college basketball world hasn't heard of him.
You know who's going to end up being a lottery pick?
Terrence Shannon Jr.
Brandon Pajimski.
Maybe next year, yeah. 18 boards last night.
Yeah, there were like 20 scouts there to see him too.
Santa Clara churning out NBA talent from Steve Nash to Jalen Williams last year to Brandon Pajimski. Woo!
Amazing.
Anyways. Yeah. Illinois beat Ohio State 69-60. It was really 69-57. There was a garbage time 3 on January 24th.
Always.
He did a good job against Sensabaugh in this game. He had 14 points, 5 of 13 shooting. Justice Suing was solid, made a couple of those shots. You're like, how the hell does he make that in the lane, which is his kind of specialty? He's had a down year, though. You look at his numbers, his efficiency is way down from what it was when he had the elite team around him 2 years ago with how good they were. I think they were, a 2 seed, lost to Oral Roberts in round 1 2 years ago. That team was much different. You had Liddell there. You had Washington. You had who was that small guard? Walker, CJ Walker. Is that a person? Yeah. But he had 13, 6 of 11 shooting. Shannon had 17 points, 17 boards, 3 assists in that game. Coleman was on triple-double watch with 11 points, 9 boards, 6 assists. Illinois specialty, 5 of 28 from 3 in that game. So proves you can be terrible from 3 and get away with it against Ohio State, I guess. They are Ohio State is 83rd in the country at guarding the 3. Their weakness is a little bit more on the interior when it comes to guarding, and they don't really force any turnovers. So if Illinois turns the ball over a lot in this game, it's a direct reflection on their offense because they only had 12 turnovers the first time they played, which is still probably more than you want against them. But you look at a team like Penn State last night had 4 turnovers against them. So, and it probably would have liked to see Ohio State win last night, but you can't really think that way, I guess.
They had 42 opportunities to make a 3 at the end. Holy my God. That was ridiculous.
I envision that happening in Illinois' future.
They missed 5 threes, 5 or 6.
Horrific. But this is still a quad 1 game. So if you can think the committee is going to look at quad 1 games, like, oh, Illinois quad 1 losses. If Illinois loses this game, you look at Illinois quad 1 losses. If the committee is not going to pay attention, they're not going to realize that Illinois lost to Ohio State, then, the Q1 right there, right in front of you. They're 71st in the net. So on the road, teams that go to Ohio State are playing a quad 1 game. But when you have a high-level game.
Will it end as a quad 1, though, if Ohio State keeps falling?
However, they got Illinois, Maryland, Michigan State. Who's to say they don't win one or two of those games?
Yeah, I mean, so this would be like a quad 1. So this is like a game that you want to be within 10 points, just so Ohio State stays.
Yeah, probably.
It doesn't fall.
Yeah. So my prediction would be a good result. Yeah. Ohio State is still a quad 1 game on the road, but a high-level game like last night is a quad 2 for Illinois because Northwestern is like 36th in the net or 35th or whatever, and I believe it's top 30 when you're at home unless that's changed. But like I tweeted earlier, like the ultimate indictment on the quad system and all that BS is like Tennessee has more quad 2 losses than any other team in the top 35, but they're 4th in the net. It's like, what are we doing? Like, how does that make any sense? More quad 2s than any team in the top 35, and they're 4th. It's ridiculous.
I don't get it.
It's like metrics weigh so heavily on the net from what I see, because Tennessee's sixth in KenPom because of their defense. Their offense is atrocious. And it's just like they're not even a top three. I guess they're a top three team in the SEC because the SEC is not that good, but they're like they're probably second. They're a distant second to Alabama in my eyes. And I would honestly argue that Texas A&M might be better than Tennessee, but that's just a whole different deal. They did beat Tennessee, so suck on that, really, would be my thoughts. Texas A&M redeeming themselves. It's your terrible non-conference. Texas A&M lost to Murray State and Wofford, who are both like, not as bad as Central Michigan, but not that much better. Anyway, Illinois is 30th in the net now, so they're a quad one game for teams as well in any scenario, unless they drop by Sunday, which they could be like 31 or 32, depending on results. The Illinois dropped 5 spots after the Minnesota game, right? So the system's awesome without their best player, which I'm comfortably now saying that Terrence Shannon is the best player on this team when he's trying. Ohio State projected lineup. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. He's a team guy, though. He's a team guy. Might have been the most excited we've seen Terrence Shannon last night. I feel like getting back in the defensive end,
Yeah.
that type of stuff.
Did the IO floor slap? So.
Well, yeah, IO, an innovator of floor slapping. Very nice. Bruce Thornton starting point guard, 6'2" freshman, 19 points on 7 of 12 from the field against Penn State. So coming off of a good game. Roddy Gale at the 2. He started the last 4 games. He's a freshman, 6'4". The big freshman, Bryce Sensabaugh, 6'6", freshman, 20 points each of his last 2 games. So he's playing well. You'll just see Ohio State has a lot of guys like individually, hey, they've been pretty good, but then the team is just falling off a cliff. I wonder how many people will show up to this game. It is a Sunday early. It's like, think I'll check out a little XFL football instead of going to this game.
True.
Justice Suing at the 4, 6'6", 28 points in the last 4 games on 10 of 37 shooting.
Ouch.
Not good. He'll probably go 10 for 14 with 28 tomorrow or Sunday. And then Felix Akpara, 6'11" center, freshman, 16 minutes and 18 minutes in the last 2 starts. He had a couple starts earlier in the year, but he started the last 2 with Zed Key officially out. So 4 freshmen starting for Ohio State.
It's crazy. And
the guys coming off the bench are all transfers, pretty much. Sean McNeil, transfer from West Virginia. Isaac Likely, transfer from Oklahoma State. And Tanner Holden, transfer from Wright State. And then they do have Eugene Braun as well, who has been there the whole time, but he hasn't been playing too much throughout the season.
So does Holtman talk about how young they are and how they have a bunch of transfers every time they lose?
He certainly should be.
Yeah, I would.
But when you lose 14 to 15, it's kind of hard to be like, we're young, we got transfers and freshmen.
Brat says that your metrics mess is on point.
Yeah, I think the metrics, the issue with metrics is really based on how much it affects the net. I think a lot of the metrics themselves, like I still, KenPom, I still hold that in high regards. But there are some issues with it, and there's issues with everything, but the net is just a total disgrace. Like the fact that the NCAA is still marketing that when they should know, like the committee should know that people hate the net.
Yeah.
Unless they're blind, which maybe they are. They're all old white guys probably. So.
Yeah. Do you think the net's better than not having any clue what they're basing?
Well, you still have the BPI and the Sagarloboda and the whatever that is, and a few other metrics as well. You still got other stuff. But the quad system sucks, no doubt. KenPom, speaking of metrics, Illinois is 55th in adjusted offense. Ohio State 27. So Ohio State's dropped about 25 spots since Illinois beat them the first time. They were first or second in the first time that they played. Defensively, big gap here. Illinois 27th, Ohio State 134th. They can't guard anybody. Adjusted tempo. Illinois did try to get out and run a little bit in the first half yesterday. when they were having good stretches, like when they went from being down 14-8 to tying it up, they were getting out and running off of misses. I think that would be something that they could do in this game. They're 65th in tempo, Ohio State 234th, and overall Illinois 27th, Ohio State 70th. Moving along. Players to watch.
My player to watch for Illinois is going to be Jaden Epps. I mean, everybody's talking about him, how he was, acting. We'll see if he gets a start, but I mean, Illinois is going to need Jaden Epps down the stretch, so hopefully he can bounce back from having a bad game. And then I'm going to go with Bryce Sensabaugh for Ohio State, leading scorer, 16 points. Underwood's probably going to say his 32 didn't beat us. Bruce Thornton's 43 beat us. So, those are my two guys to watch.
I think Jason Epps needs to have a big game for sure.
Cody Buffkin.
Yeah, Jaden Epps, sure. Yeah. I'm going to go Matthew Meyer. I said it many times. Matthew Meyer is a road warrior, okay? Yeah. Going on the road, you look at the games, it all backs up. He had a great game at Iowa, great game at Wisconsin. He was good at Indiana, a number of big-time road games, and he's going to have another one here, especially national stage CBS. You don't think he's been used to doing that when he was at Baylor? I mean, it's not like he was a star at Baylor, but he was, he was there. He was playing for the team with the hair. People noticed it.
Yeah, he had hair.
Yep, they'll have a big game. Then we'll go Justice Suing. Like I said, Justice Suing, one last hoorah against Illinois, probably 10 for 14 in the field, 28 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists or something. He'll probably have a big game.
Yeah, let's hope not. Brad says, is Tyler best point guard?
Yes. You know why? Because he never really, sometimes, not when he's running the point, though. When he's running the point, he never looks to score.
Yep. I 1,000% agree with that. He even said in the post game how him being the point guard gets Epps as a scorer like he should be.
Epps is a shooting guard, really. I mean, let's be honest.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And next season starting point guard will be Dre Gibbs Lawhorn, and then we'll be like, well, he's a shooting guard too, right? I mean, no, but I think next season's point guard, depending on the portal, I would love, just so we can get way out, like just so I can speak way ahead of myself, like 3 months ahead of myself. I would love like a star point guard from it can be a power conference school or a mid-major school. Getting like a veteran point guard in here that's good enough to start, that would be amazing, I have to say. Better than Courtney Ramey too. Somebody like he's good, but better than him, like a star. You know what I'm saying, guys? Right? Everybody nailed it.
Who do you want?
We'll get to names in a couple months. We'll get to names.
All right. Okay.
I think Tiger can't. No, I'm just kidding. Somebody as good as him though that is transferring would be a little taller though. A little taller. Not a knock. Also, a lot of what we're saying with Ty Rodgers and the point seems like a knock on Epps, but it's not.
Right. I agree.
I think Coleman Hawkins will be back next year, so he'll be running the point. Never mind. Sorry.
That's true. Is Coleman Hawkins the best point guard that Illinois has?
People are asking, certainly.
I don't think they are, but
predictions.
I think Illinois is going to take care of business over in Ohio, wherever they play basketball over there.
Columbus, yes.
72-71. We still got it around the Big Ten section, don't we?
Home of the Blue Jackets, yeah. Well, we won't be back until like Monday or Tuesday.
That's true.
When's their next game? Thursday? Next Thursday?
Need some caffeine or something.
I think it's next Thursday.
Don't forget about Nicole Moretti. Sorry. Nikolai. How do you say his name?
Nicolo?
Broad says Michigan did that rent a point guard, and that makes it stink.
I'm saying a better. Like they got Jalen Llewellyn and what was the dude last year? Mike Smith. Is that a guy? That one from Campbell or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, like better than that. Like those guys are fine, but like better than those guys.
Better. Those guys, but better.
I can't even think of an example of like great teams that have a transfer point guard that are just off the charts. I don't know. What do you think of like Do we even say our predictions?
I said mine.
Okay, yeah.
I don't.
I'm just all over the place. Illinois 77, Ohio State 72. Close victory, good for the quads if you want to have a quad one win here, which who cares at this point? Even though seeing Illinois as a 9 right now is puzzling. Puzzling to me this team. Yeah, Lunardi has him as a 9.
Yeah, Lunardi's an idiot.
He's terrible, but also he's the only one I could find that updated today, so we'll get to him later.
True.
From a matchups perspective, in this game, who do you think Illinois starting 5 is going to be?
Man, I think Jaden Epps is still going to get a start.
I would totally be okay with starting Hawkins at the 5 in this game, by the way, but I know they're not going to do it.
Yeah. I think it's going to go back to what it was before Terrence Shannon went out. I don't think Brad's going to change it. I mean, that's what it was the second half of the Northwestern game. So why wouldn't it be that?
I mean, Danger wasn't out there.
Danger didn't start the second half?
Yeah, but like he wasn't really playing at all.
You didn't ask who was playing. You said who's starting.
Whatever. Whatever.
I think the second half of that game was huge, though, to show that Illinois can still do what they wanted to do when Dane Danger wasn't starting or playing.
Oh, certainly. Yeah, certainly.
Sure.
Yep. From a matchups perspective,
are you guys doing a watch party Sunday? No, it's my wife's grandma. My wife's grandma's 87th birthday, so I'm probably going to be watching the game in the car on my phone. Be my guess.
Blow that off. Bruce Gordon versus Jaden Epps, I think, is what you do to start in that game in terms of a defensive matchup. I think I think you got to go Shannon on Sensabaugh. I don't remember if they did that in the first game.
Yeah.
But, and then you go, I guess, 6'9" Matthew Meyer on a shooting guard who he's going to fall for every single shot fake. It'll be good. Then you go Hawkins on Suing and Danger on Akpara.
Yeah.
Or
I mean,
you do the right thing and you have Hawkins.
You don't start Dane.
Hawkins on Akpara, Meyer on Suing, which still would be bad, but still. And then you have RJ or anybody else to guard.
Rogers.
Yeah, anybody.
Yeah.
Or you start Sincere over Epps and the world blows up.
Yeah.
I
do like not starting Dane in this game.
I just know Brad is so stubborn that he's not going to do it. He's going to be like, this is Dane bounce back. We're going to feed him the ball at the elbow and expect him to do something still. And it's just going to be awesome.
And ask him not to dribble or turn baseline.
Brutal. I'm sure we'll see Kelly Pfeiffer in this game as well. So that'll be good.
Good.
All right. Around the Big Ten. Didn't expect we'd be almost an hour and 15 in when I started this segment, but I digress. Minnesota basketball not going well. Center Dennis Evans, who is he was a 4-star, but he's 18th on 247, so he's like almost a 5-star.
Yeah,
kind of weird that their scale has changed like that. 2023 class supposed to be a big part of the future. 7'1" center, very skilled. Asking for his release from his letter of intent. Very bad for Minnesota. Very bad. Trending in the wrong direction. After I talked about how much I liked their freshman a couple games ago.
That's crazy.
As Kevin Sweeney at CBB_Central on Twitter said, the trends aren't positive for Ben Johnson, Minnesota. They're 222nd on KenPom, have just one Big Ten win, and now just lost a big part of their future in Dennis Evans. Interesting, folks. Interesting.
He looks like a ball player, too.
He definitely does. Steve Urkel, if he was 7'1". And if you remember the episode of Family Matters where they did play a little b-ball, Urkel could play. Okay, he could play.
So you think somebody just threw more money at him, or what?
No clue. No clue.
His only other visit was TCU.
I thought there was something in there about how much they've been losing, but I don't know if that was accurate.
He's only had 7 offers. He must have committed early.
He's going to Illinois from what I heard.
His offers are UC Riverside, Texas, San Diego State, Kansas, Florida State, TCU. And then the prediction here says Louisville. So that tells you anything.
Go save the program. Speaking of Minnesota, I think Ben Johnson will be the next Big Ten coach to get fired. I think it'll be at the end of next season. I think they're going to have all those freshmen coming back. They're going to be like, okay, big jump time. Win like 7 games in the Big Ten, maybe 8, and they're just going to be atrocious again. And instead of Hoiberg getting the leash because he's Hoiberg at Nebraska, Ben Johnson's not going to get that type of leash at Minnesota.
How long has he been there now? 2 years?
Yeah, but still, if you go 3 years and you have – they have enough talent right now to have at least another Big Ten win. And their one Big Ten win was extremely lucky at the team that's 2 wins ahead of them, Ohio State. So you have Dawson Garcia and Jamison Battle and good freshmen and a veteran point guard. You should have more than 1 win. And I know that the league is not that good this year. So that's the other part of it that's really bad.
Right.
So I'm going to say it's going to be him. And yours is your pick just makes no sense, but whatever.
Juwan Howard. See you later, bro.
Yeah, definitely going to get fired for sure. Yeah, that adds up, certainly.
You can't – you're throwing stuff on me 2
this
seconds. This
is an easy one. It's either pick Ben Johnson
what do you want me to pick Ben Johnson too?
Or Chris Holtman or Fred Hoiberg.
You pick a all Big Ten first team, and there's literally 5 guys that deserve to be on it. And
there's 6 or 7.
What are you going to pick? What are we doing?
What are you doing would be my question.
I don't know. Going crazy. Do you think Epps' sudden struggle is because Sky is coming back?
Absolutely. No doubt. Welcome back, Sky.
You think Sky is coming back?
Oh, hell no. Not in season. Maybe next year.
Yeah.
Even then, I give it a 5% chance.
Unless Brought you know something we don't. You tell us.
All Big Ten first team. There's 4 guys that are no doubt in my eyes. TJJ, Edey, Pickett, and Murray. I do think Dickinson's somewhere in the conversation. If you ask Ken Palm, he should be on there. I think Ken Palm's team is Edey, TJJ, Pickett, Young, Dickinson. So interesting. But I'm going to go Boo Buie as the guard on this team. I apologized officially last night for what I've said about him. I think it's close between him and Jameer Young, but I think Boo Buie being on the team that really had a chance to get Purdue until last night probably. He still had 35 last night. So
negative Ethan's back. Can we get unapologetic Ethan back too, please?
Well,
can't change this much over 3 years, dude. What is going on?
This is one that I'll apologize for because Boo Buie's really, really been good this year. Yeah. It's a tough look for me.
And negative Ethan for sure back, by the way. Indiana game, Illinois is winning. He texts me, we're going to lose this game. Last night, Illinois is making a comeback, and I text Ethan, and I said, do not text me. I don't need your negativity. So you're welcome for getting Illinois a win because Ethan didn't put it in writing to me that they were going to lose. So.
Back in my head was they're going to win this game.
And I did have a buddy in a group when Illinois was down 8 or something and said Illinois is going to win this game. And I told Ethan that's positivity I need out of him. But it's okay. It's okay.
It's never happening.
That's why I have other friends.
Exactly. Bracketologically speaking, latest from Lenardi. Like I said, Lenardi is not good, completely overrated, not good at his job, totally influenced by biases and whatever else you want to say about that clown. Bill Walton knows is a troll. Looks like one too. His hair coloring thing is horrific, by the way. And they just split screen him for half of a goddamn game and think anybody gives a flying shit about what that little troll has to say. Anyway, here's his bracketology from the Big Ten. He's got Purdue as a 1 seed. He's got Indiana as a 5 seed playing Oral Roberts, which Indiana would probably beat them, but you got to be a little bit afraid about their offense. Northwestern is a 6 seed against a play-in of Oklahoma State, USC. Michigan State is a 7 seed against Pitt. Maryland is a 7 seed against Auburn. God, I'd love to see Bruce Pearl just get destroyed by a Big Ten team. And I think Maryland would beat them if you think about it, really. Iowa's an 8 seed against Nevada. Interesting. Rutgers is a 9 seed against NC State, which I think is an absolute death matchup for Rutgers.
Yeah.
NC State has really good guards and a huge big man. DJ Burns weighs 380 pounds. Come on. And Illinois is a 9 seed. How is Illinois one of the worst seeds in the entire conference? They're their record in the Big Ten is 10-7, which a lot of teams are, but they also have overall better wins than most teams in the Big Ten.
Yeah, I think I mean, not that this really matters, but they have the most wins against AP top 25 teams,
which doesn't matter at all. But
at
still.
the time of the game. So,
I mean, they're a 6 seed. What bracket matrix takes average seed of every single bracketology in that they track, and Illinois is a 6 seed in that. What are we doing here? Like they're the last 6 seed, but they are a 6 seed in that. I think the committee's going to put them as a 6 or a 7 unless they lose out.
Depending on how the rest of this season goes. Yeah.
But like a 9 seed and then Lenardi's like, hey, you're going to play Arkansas. It's like, oh my God, you're pretty much putting the exact same teams against each other in terms of how much turnover and how many freshmen. Of course, Arkansas is more talented, but there's still 2 teams you look at are like, they could be so good with how much talent they have. Yeah. I want absolutely nothing to do with playing Arkansas in round 1.
I agree.
Nothing to do with it, especially since I'm a must-bus guy. Right. I don't want to have to root against my guy in round 1.
Right. Yeah, that'd be tough for you. It'd
be tough for everybody. I assume you were still a must-bus guy. Maybe not.
Oh, yeah. You know it.
More than Nate Oates. I mean, Nate Oates is a scumbag, apparently.
Oh, all right. Let's keep going with round of Big Ten.
I do like Nate Oates still, but it's a rough scene for him. Wisconsin, 11 seed play-in against Mississippi State. If you thought Wisconsin's offense was bad now, watch them play Mississippi State, who has one of the best defenses in the country. They would score 42 points.
9 teams. I don't think Big Ten's getting 9 teams in.
I think they might with the way Michigan's going to backdoor sneak in.
Ugh.
Penn State, first 4 out. Michigan next 4 out. But Michigan trending in the right direction. The fact that they went into Rutgers and won and then beat them by double digits after scoring 3 points in the first 8 minutes without Jett Howard.
Pretty good.
I mean, I don't know. 9 bids, though, 11 possible teams. So everybody in the Big Ten has a chance to get in except for Nebraska, Ohio State, and Minnesota. And it's like the Big Ten needs to stop letting everybody play in the tournament, I think, because you don't want Ohio State to like get hot and then screw the entire thing up.
True.
12 bids, 12 bid league.
That'd be awesome.
I mean, it would take like Penn State getting to the semis, Michigan getting to the finals, Ohio State winning it. There's your 12 bid league. You know, also Wisconsin getting to the semis or winning a couple. All right. Lenardi's a chump, by the way. Add that. Tomorrow in the Big Ten, you got Michigan State at Iowa and then Indiana at Purdue. I will take Iowa and Purdue, both home teams, to win that game. I'm sure you totally agree.
Yeah.
Yep. Sunday, you got on top of the Illinois game, you got Rutgers at Penn State. Rutgers wins, bounce back. Northwestern at Maryland. Maryland wins. Wisconsin at Michigan. Michigan will beat them by 30. Wisconsin will be out of the tournament in the bracketology world. And, home teams all the way around, except for Rutgers.
Okay, let's hold the home teams. Brady says, I need to have a sleep party. Fell asleep in the first half last night. That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, so as the longest podcast in history for our show, probably the Illini, that's one of our longest ever.
It's got to be close.
Comes to a close. I think we did everything possible there. So
yeah, I love it when we get on beforehand. I said, man, I am super wore out and tired, and then we have an hour and a half show. So
pretty good. Yep. Pretty good. All right, that will do it for us. I mean, it was episode 150. It was a milestone.
That's right, a milestone. That's right. Halfway to 300.
Whew, yeah, that is true. But if people didn't notice, I mean, I did, do my best to have a little special thumbnail for this episode. And I was trying to pull it up here and show it on the YouTube.
I got to say that like our first year of doing this, we probably had all of our shows were probably about an hour and a half because we did them every Friday. So we'd have to go over 2 or 3 games.
Yeah.
Look at that.
See, we got the little
I'll get some
yellow
extra
thing.
clicks.
Certainly. I mean, no doubt. I did it for 100 as well, I believe. So,
all right.
And the thumbnails obviously changed since then, but yeah. All right, that'll do it for us. We'll be back for episode 151.
Thank you.
Episode 151 will be sometime between now and next Thursday because they play Thursday. So I'll probably do Twitter Spaces after this game on Sunday. I'm sure you'll join eventually because you'll be like, "Oh, I'm in my car right now, trying to." I was watching the game in my car, and I was just like, "Hey, I gotta come on here."
Yeah, I mean, I'll have my headphones at least with me so I can probably hop on for a little bit.
And bring the whoever's birthday it is, bring her onto the space.
Bring Grandma Ida on.
Yeah,
I don't know if Grandma. I don't know if she watches Illinois.
She knows. She probably knows ball. She knows more about basketball than Lenardi, I'm sure.
That's true.
All right, episode 151 will be next week. Twitter Spaces likely after the game, unless I completely forget that it exists. But I'm sure I'll remember. Illinois.
I'm sure that Zach will be telling you on Twitter to do it. So
beat the Buckeyes, and we will.